Hello and welcome to a new video. In today's video we are going to take a look at Meowscarada, a Pokemon that I have not seen anybody use so far in this season, even though it got buffed quite significantly, as LEAFAGE is now a Shadow Claw clone. This is going to be an interesting one, because you're going to have a Pokemon now with a ton of attack, the option to boost yourself as well if you have the luck with Night Sash, or if you don't want to have luck, you can also go for a Flower Trick, which doesn't give you any coverage or damage, but boosts yourself up, which I wouldn't recommend. But yeah, Meowscarada is kind of cool, because this thing has, as you see as well, the option to boost, but also it is insanely fast. There is not really a lot that a lot of people can do there. They are just gonna get outsped by this thing. This thing is ridiculous in terms of the speed it has. So you need only 5 for the first Night Sash and 4 for the second Night Sash in order to get to your move. I think that's correct. Yeah, that is correct. So you have great pacing. You have just great pacing with your Night Sash, but also you're going to have great pacing with your other move, your Frenzy Plant, a move that is very, very strong. And with a LEAFAGE now being a better version of Wayne Whip, you are going to have also like an interesting kind of small play there as well, with a little bit more fast move damage against like those Pokemon like a Gastron here, where you can have like a little bit of damage. It's going to be great for us. But yeah, generally, I thought that Meowscarada was a fun Pokemon. Meowscarada was one of the Pokemon I was looking forward to the most from when we first saw the season announcement. And honestly, I think if you want to run Meowscarada, the time is now for it, because it's honestly really cool in the current meta. Why is that the case? Because there are way too many teams currently that are weak to grass and weak to dark. As we have currently one of the most common cores being Galarian, Unova Stunfisk, literally getting destroyed by any grass type Pokemon, especially Meowscarada, as well as the Galarian Corsola together, which is again a Pokemon that doesn't really want to face up against a dark type like we have it here. And so Meowscarada honestly has like a lot of play with just being this not bulky, definitely a squishy grass type Pokemon. Yeah, I feel like we should have been able to swap out in time. I really want to swap out, but maybe I fat fingered over it. But I'm going to be able to, for example, leave here with 2 Frenzy Plants stored. Like, where are those 2 Frenzy Plants going to go and like not do a ton of damage? We are going to have so much potential pressure now with them. And here we're going to go up with a Carbink against the opponent's Corviknight. Honestly, Carbink is one of the best Pokemon in the current meta. I want to make a meta tier list, by the way, next week after the first week of Great League is kind of over, in order to just kind of showcase on where the meta is currently standing, what you want to build, which Pokemon are good, which Pokemon are not good. And I can tell you already that Carbink is going to be S tier. For the Great League, Carbink is going to be S tier. In my opinion, Carbink is one of the Pokemon that you really want to have this season, because it is so nice and neutral, but also has so much potential against so many different kind of Pokemon, being able to lock in those new flying type Pokemon with a pack update. It's so much better, but also with a pack update, the ground type Pokemon are not as common because they have to fear the flyers. So all in all, a rock type Pokemon, especially the Carbink, is going to have a lot of play. And as Aurasphere is one of the most common coverage move currently in the meta, with Togekiss and Jirachi and whatever having this one. It's like literally the meta of Carbink right now, where this Pokemon can shine. To be fair, Togekiss, or Jirachi is not the best idea there, because Jirachi is also destroying your Carbink, but here's what it is. But anyway, we were lucky here. We had a bad lead, we had a very good face up for us. They decided to swap out into their Typhlosion, which is a matchup that we can guarantee win. There's absolutely nothing the opponent can do here to realign themselves. Literally nothing. There's nothing they can do. They can shield here if they really want to, but at the end of the day, I'm always going to be able to knock you out. So they decided to let the move go, leaving us with a switch advantage and B energy advantage, and C Gastrodon against the Gyarados. Like, what are they thinking? They don't really think a lot here, because this is not going to be a great matchup for them at all. We can go for another awkward tail here as well, which is either going to force a shield or the KO. We're going to be able to get the KO, and in the back there's now going to be Carbink against Togekiss. Good game, winning with 3 Pokemon here. And now we're gonna take a look a little bit at the weaknesses of the team. What happens when you face a complete hard counter matchup? Spoiler alert, you might actually lose there. I know it seems kind of crazy, but it's gonna happen to every team. Like, this is the thing as well. There are certain Pokemon that you don't really like to face. Pokemon like the Annihilate are going to be very difficult for this team. You kind of want to have your Gyarados aligned there, but if your Gyarados gets walled like this as well, there's not really a lot that you can do there. But as you see here, at least we're going to be able to take the moves with a Carbink. And in comes the Dunsparce, revealing the entire team, revealing that they are going to have also now a Pokemon here that is alright for us. We can deal with this Pokemon. I'm not too worried about Dunsparce. I am worried about the Annihilate, and so yeah, this is going to be a matchup that we are never going to be able to win. As we will see as well, we're going to be able to get that Night Switch off. We can not even reach another one with that. That's going to be game. And we can move on to the next opponent, where we see again a pretty bad lead. This actually happened to me quite often in the beginning. I did 4 sets total with this team. First one, 3-2. Second one, 3-2. Third one, 3-2. Fourth one, 5-0. And I have to say that the longer I played the team, the better I felt with it, the more dominant I was with this team, and I am not too surprised I went 5-0 with it in the last set. I'm honestly not surprised with that. I think this team needs a bit of play, and a bit of skill, a bit of knowledge that I didn't have before as well. You need to get into this team in order for it to function well, but I think as soon as you can master that, you actually have so much potential with this team. Gyarados is absolutely fantastic. The energy generation of this Pokemon is wild, the coverage this Pokemon has is wild, and you kind of have to pay like close attention on what you're going to encounter. For example, here we just had the Altaria, where we're able to Dragon Breath damage, doing some passive damage, but what I decided to do here actually is, I decided to keep my energy on that Gyarados for later on, because I was thinking, that's most likely going to be my best play. It's most likely going to help me out in a matchup like this one. And then we're going to be able to win the matches a little bit easier. You have to understand the Pokemon you're running. You have to understand on what's best for yourself. But this is the cool thing as well about the team. And this is the thing about the season, which I find the nicest. ABB is not as great anymore. ABC, what you had kind of back in the day, has so much more potential. And here we see, by the way, a very common meta trend. Currently, the Unova Stunfisk is, in my opinion, the most common lead that you're going to encounter. Because also Grass-type Pokemon just don't really seem to be doing that great in the current meta. Mainly due to, I guess, the Flying-type Pokemon. People are a bit scared to use that. What I wish is a Grass-type that has Rock-type coverage. Oh wait, Cordelia exists, but doesn't have a great fast move. I think it's very difficult currently for Grass types in the meta, but I feel like Meowscarada has a little bit of uniqueness to it because of the Dark typing, allowing you to hit Ghost type Pokemon for super effective, which I like a lot. But also, just generally, I think Meowscarada's pacing is kind of cool. The Pokemon itself is very strong. Here, we are going to not be able to realign ourselves, which is going to sadly lose us the battle. If we were able to realign ourselves, we would have been fine, but we couldn't, so... Again, Primeape was a bit of an issue there, which I found kind of wild, because at the end of the day, like, it's Primeape, like, it's not really the craziest Pokemon. But, yeah, they're sadly going to knock us out here, and with that, we are not going to be able to reach 2 Moonblasts against the opponent's Stunfisk before they knock us out. We are not in range for 2 Mud Bombs, but we are also not ever going to get there before they're going to get to 3 Mud Bombs. So, yeah, good game to the opponent. And so we have bad lead after another. Like, we're going to have very bad lead here with the Altaria. And you see me not going for the charge move. This is something that I learned as well. I could go for the charge move and then have the switch clock unaligned a little bit further as well, which is kind of cool. Has a lot of benefits towards it, especially like with Pokemon here. You're going to have now 45-second switch clock, which I kind of want to make a dedicated video as well towards, but I have to see if I'm going to do it and when I'm going to do it. But basically, what we have here right now is a scenario where I can guarantee alignment, I think. They're going to go for the Aqua Tail. This is just an Aqua Tail. I'm just going to farm them down. And then I do have the Altaria all of a sudden up against our Carbink, and that is going to be a matchup that they definitely don't really want to be in. And so we are going to be able to go for the Dark Bolts here. They catch the move. That's cool for them. That's great for us as well. We're going to get to another crunch. That's going to be alright. We can go for this move here. Just going to get the damage onto them, and we can see here now the Carbink coming in. This is going to be here now the Galveston coming in as well. Frenzy Plant is going to knock them out. And we can now move on to the next opponent here, as this Altaria is not going to have a great time against the Carbink. Carbink will be able to destroy this thing, as we have even a full health version there. So, like, what are they going to do? Moving on swiftly, we are going to have here the Wigglytuff coming in. And we have a Carbink here as well. That's going to have a very normal, neutral, solid matchup. The opponent is going to be forced to go for the Icy Wind. But I honestly feel like that the Charm buff is quite an interesting one. And honestly, yeah, maybe I'm going to have to take a little bit of a look into that as well. Because having the Charm buff is making Pokemon like Wigglytuff or Darkspawn quite a bit stronger. Like, just the extra energy generation is quite mad. To the point where if you go for 5 fast moves to get 40 energy... So any Pokemon that has that kind of energy level is going to benefit quite significantly. And so, honestly, a Pokemon that I should most likely take a look at, I'm gonna write it down to myself. I'm not gonna talk about it right now. You will see it very likely on the channel though, so stay tuned for that. There's a certain Charmer that I would like to showcase. Let me know down below if you can guess which one it's going to be. Anyway, we are going to be able to now go up against the opponent's Dewgong, get a little bit of damage, get the perfect swap here into the Meowscarada. And honestly, I had great matchups this morning with this Pokemon. This Pokemon was a lot of fun. And a lot of battles I actually won just so slightly, just because I played it perfectly, which I found really, really happy. Here, for example, I'm going to be able to farm them down. In comes the Dewgong, I can use the shield, I have a Lostheart, and we are going to be in a position that they are not going to be able to win here anymore, as we can go for the Night Siege, get that delicious KO, and we can move on to the next opponent, as we also get the double attack boost, which was completely unnecessary. I know that the next opponent is a subscriber of mine, so shout outs to you. Yeah, we are going to have, I just started recording very, very late here, sorry for that. My phone updated recently, and I don't have my recording button anymore, so I had to always it's kind of more annoying for me to currently press record on the screen. I know, very, very tough life I have here. Joking. But yeah, we got to have here now the third against us. I think this is a matchup that you can win as a Meowscarada if you just go Night Siege and play out the twos maybe. I don't know how much Night Siege actually does from this range. Anyway, they're gonna go for the Swift. They're gonna stop onto their Dene, and that's going to be alright for us because they're gonna get a ton of damage because we have the nice Orchid coming through here. In comes the Carbink. Carbink will take the hits like it is nothing. Parabolic Charge 1, Parabolic Charge 2 is coming through, and with that, this is going to be a Rock Slide coming in. That's going to knock them out, and with that, we're going to still have half of our Carbink. You're going to still have our Meowscarada with a lot of energy. We don't have shields. It's going to be a tough matchup, but they're going to have a Ghost Step in the back, which now allows me to go ahead and go for a Night Siege against that Ferret, taking it out, I think, at the perfect time. They should have been close to Swift, but also Dusclops now has to deal with a super effective stab Night Siege from a Meowscarada, a very squishy Pokemon, and with that, a very hard attacker. So yeah, that is going to be a very good game, because what we will see here is that the opponent is not going to be too happy with that Rock Slide that's coming in very, very soon. I would be even able to farm them down, but what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and go for that big Rock Slide here, getting that big KO, and we can move on to the second to last battle for today. Again, I end up going for the 5-0 in the back there, which was really cool. And we see already a very good lead matchup. There are a lot of ground types currently in the lead. Like, ground is the most common lead. That's why I want to try out Meowscarada as well. I just recognized that, yeah, ground's kind of cool. And that was like between, do I want to go for Dartrix, which is a Pokemon I still want to take a look at as well. But I find it's very difficult to build a team around it because I'm not the biggest fan on Peck. I think actually LEAFAGE is better on Dartrix, because then you have good grass type coverage and still Brave Bird to one-shot Pokemon that are going to be weak to your other move. But yeah, I have to research more into that. But yeah, generally I don't really like Dartrix as much, but I really enjoyed to try to use that Meowscarada, a Pokemon that people just don't really expect. Don't really play perfectly against it. And here, by the way, we're gonna see on how perfectly I can play out this matchup as well. We have a Bastion against us, a Pokemon that I really don't want to face, because I know I have a big weakness to it. But what I also have here is my Gyarados, which has to go for 2 charge moves still here in order to have any chance of winning us this battle. First one is coming through. This is going to allow us to get that shield, but we still have to hit another one in order to win this battle, as we are gonna be forced to use a shield against the opponent here. They maybe gonna try to catch, but I'm not going to allow that. We're just gonna go straight for the move here, get the KO against the opponent. Goodbye Bastion, and now it's down to that Marowak. They are going to knock us out though in time, and now we have to kind of play that perfect here, as we are gonna swap out into our Carbink. Go for the stored Moonblast, just to realize it's not going to be enough. What do? I go straight Meowscarada, get some fast move pressure in, get the opponent super low to 1 HP, and now it's a 1 Dragon Breath and a win, and we can move on to the final battle for today. When Altaria is going to wait again, and we are not going to go for our charge moves, even though we would be able to outspeed them to the crunch. I know that crunch is not going to be enough, and I would rather use the energy to realign myself in the secondary matchup, so I have my Carbink later on aligned against the Altaria, then use it on the Altaria just for them to swap out afterwards, and I have nothing from it. And that's the main reason why you want to keep that energy and not go for the charge move against the Altaria, even though it's like such a cool thing that you can just go for that move before the opponent can even reach their own. I understand it's kind of cool with that, but it's not going to help you. It's really not going to help you. It's just going to hinder you in the long run. And so, as we got some nice damage in against the Altaria already, I can actually go for the Night Slash here, which will allow me to get some damage onto them, but I also kind of scared that they have something in the back that I kind of don't want to go up against with my Carbink, and so I decided to use a shield here on the Sky Attack. I am going to go up to the Frenzy Plant, swap out, try to farm them down in time, but they're actually going to go for another charge move here, which is going to be that Flamethrower, as they are gonna go into their Marrow Wagon next, and this is looking interesting. The opponent is going to be able to go for their Bone Club, but they're still going to have to take that big Moonblast. They are going to be forced to let the move go, because otherwise they're going to get hit by a Frenzy. So they let the move go here. I'm going to swap out, force them to go for the charge move early, which is going to be very important, because now I can go for the Meowscarada play, go for the full farm down, have 2 moves stored, they have their own Altaria, and I have to go for 2 Night Slashes here. Can we get the KO in time? First one comes through. I'm not going to get to the next move here, but I can still farm them down with the Carbink, and this is going to be it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.